A girl suddenly grabs her mother from behind and violently tightens an apron around her neck. She pulls it tighter with crossed arms, putting her entire body weight into the act. Her mother, terrified and struggling, tries to break free, but the more she resists, the more excited the girl becomes, as if it's some kind of thrilling game. Just before her mother loses consciousness, the girl finally lets go, seemingly satisfied. Her mother is left pale and horrified, eyes wide with fear. From this point on, whenever they're alone, the girl forces her mother to repeat this tormenting game, completely ignoring her mother's physical and emotional well-being. The narrative reveals that the girl has a severe case of Asperger's syndrome. This condition has made her extremely socially detached and incapable of distinguishing right from wrong or understanding emotions naturally. Her only way to learn human feelings is through constant guidance from her mother. When she's happy, she hugs her mother with fake affection. When she's joyful, she leans on her mother purposefully. But when she feels fear, she reacts by choking her mother, signaling a disturbing misinterpretation of emotional expression. As she grows older, her behavior becomes colder and more emotionally detached. The girl's detachment escalates beyond human interactions. Upon seeing an injured kitten, her first instinct is to end its life, under the pretense of relieving its pain, rather than helping it. Violence isn't her only obsession. She's also drawn to gambling and video games. With her advanced programming skills, she creates a successful profit-generating system for a local arcade, impressing the business owner and drawing the attention of a powerful woman named Sister Baleli, who quickly brings her into her inner circle. Under Baleli's patronage, the girl develops a social matchmaking app called Somebody, which becomes wildly popular and leads many strangers into romantic relationships. Through the Somebody app, a woman named Jin Yu finds a partner, only to discover that he's a serial killer. Rather than fear, she feels an unusual excitement upon learning this. The killer, Cheng Runwu, is not only a murderer but also a notorious playboy who juggles relationships using multiple fake identities across several phones. Jin Yu agrees to meet a man she connects with online, believing they share a similar emotional struggle. They arrange to meet beneath a chimney. However, once she arrives, he violently drags her into an abandoned building. Terrified, she tries to flee but is captured again. Just as he attempts to assault her, she bites his ear and locks the door behind her. Though he tries another exit, Jin Yu outruns him, barely managing to stay ahead and lock the next door in time. The man ominously traces a line on the glass before disappearing into the shadows, implying he's searching for another way in. Jin Yu flees again, hiding as the man hunts her with a glowing baton. Their deadly game of hide-and-seek continues through staircases and corridors. Jin Yu finally escapes to an open platform and screams for help, but this only alerts her pursuer again. A glowing baton nearly hits her from above, revealing that more than one attacker is involved. Now in even graver danger, she slashes through a plastic sheet to escape into a dark corridor. A sudden whistle terrifies her, and she bolts into a men's restroom. She hides in one of the stalls while another man, mistaking her for an accomplice, casually leaves. As she attempts to exit quietly, the original attacker bursts back in and starts shaking the stall violently. The stall's divider breaks under his force, exposing Jin Yu. He tries to assault her again, but she slashes his neck with a razor blade. As he crawls away, she follows him out of the stall and strikes again to ensure he doesn't survive. Suddenly, his accomplices arrive. Seeing her blood-soaked face and the dying man, they panic and flee. What was meant to be a simple assault turns into their worst nightmare. Before dying, the man utters a cryptic phrase that triggers something deep in Jin Yu's memory. She returns home, enters a message into the AI robot she designed, asking what his final words meant. When the robot asks if she'd done anything notable, she types, "I just killed him, and I felt joy." Fearing the robot might record this, she deletes it, but then remembers that her AI retains even deleted content. A strange sense of satisfaction washes over her. She then calmly cleans the blade, dries it, wraps it in paper, and acts as if nothing happened. The next day, she goes back to work, unaware that the entire incident was orchestrated. The man she met online, the kindred spirit, was actually her boyfriend, Cheng Runwu, in disguise. The entire attack was a trap he meticulously set up. Meanwhile, a paralyzed girl also meets a man online and falls for him quickly. In a moment of intimacy, she lifts her skirt for him, but the tenderness is short-lived. The man abandons her and steals her phone. When she crawls outside in search of him, she finds her wheelchair discarded, leaving her helpless and in emotional agony. Being abandoned in the mountains, Qiyin manages to crawl into her car and starts driving away slowly. However, the vehicle quickly goes out of control and crashes into a hillside. To make matters worse, the car's tires sink into the mud, rendering it immobile. Realizing she has no choice, Qiyin abandons the car and begins to drag her body down the mountainside using just her arms. Hours earlier, she had arrived at a date arranged through an app. Her date, claiming to be physically disabled like her, had chosen an abandoned swimming pool as the meeting spot, knowing Qiyin's love for swimming. At first, the man played along with his false identity, but as soon as Qiyin asked how he would get into the pool, he stood up, revealing his deception. Startled and frightened, Qiyin panicked. The man quickly apologized, saying he only pretended to be disabled so he could meet her, and insisted that he genuinely liked her. Persuaded by his soft-spoken charm and claims of sincerity, Qiyin slowly let her guard down. The man then offered to help her fulfill her dream of swimming again. He gently lifted her into the pool and acted as a human flotation device while she happily paddled in the water. The sunlight beamed down on her, and she looked radiant, resembling a fairy tale princess. She was so touched that she kissed the man's cheek. However, this sweet moment was just the calm before the storm. Later, he betrayed her by not only abandoning her in the wilderness, but also taking her phone and discarding her wheelchair, her only means of independent mobility. Qiyin, humiliated and in pain, crawled through rough terrain for hours and finally flagged down a taxi. She made her way to her sister's house and explained what had happened. They realized her phone was last seen at a local snack shop, and when Qiyin called her number, using her sister's phone, the man answered. Pretending to be the shop owner, he dismissed the matter and mockingly suggested she come pick up the phone if she wanted it. The man, thrilled by his ability to manipulate others, begins looking for his next target. Meanwhile, Qiyin downloads the Somebody app again to try and track him, only to find that her account has been deleted. Clearly another move by him. Her sister suggests going to the police, but Qiyin is too ashamed. Instead, she decides to turn to her friend Jinyu, the original developer of Somebody. However, Qiyin's sister, a spiritual practitioner with a keen sense for malevolent energy, immediately senses something sinister when she sees Jinyu. Qiyin bluntly asks for help finding the man, but Jinyu reveals that the company's policies strictly forbid revealing user data, except to the head administrator, Liji. What Jinyu doesn't know is that the man Qiyin is looking for is none other than her own boyfriend, Cheng Runwu. The next day, Qiyin's sister goes to the snack shop pretending to retrieve the phone. She tries to coax information out of the shop owner, but the woman remains tight-lipped. That evening, one of the sister's informants sends her a blurry photo of Cheng Runwu dining at the shop. Desperate for confirmation, she immediately calls her informant back to get a photo of his face. However, while the informant is secretly snapping pictures, Cheng notices him. With his long legs and agility, Cheng quickly apprehends the man and learns that Qiyin is hunting for him. Instead of panicking, Cheng becomes excited at the idea. He continues playing innocent in front of Jinyu, who goes to work as usual. Liji, the head of the Somebody app, hears of Qiyin's ordeal and makes a rare exception by retrieving the dating info of the man who attacked her. He asks Jinyu to use it to expose the predator. But shockingly, Jinyu refuses to act. Liji has no choice but to let it go. Just then, Cheng Runwu sends Jinyu a voice message. She uses the opportunity to ask for his help in tracking the man who attacked Qiyin, not realizing she's talking to the attacker himself. Cheng smiles smugly after ending the call. Later, Jinyu receives a video call from Qiyin and goes to meet her in person. Qiyin explains their plan. She and her sister are setting a trap near the snack shop to lure the attacker out. Meanwhile, in a distant industrial facility, a high-heeled shoe falls from above, revealing the corpse of a recently deceased woman. She had just signed up on Somebody, gone on a spontaneous date, and ended up dead in a hotel room. The man she met seemed normal at first, but turned deadly after she made an unusual request during their encounter. He choked her to death and killed her replacement, a second woman who walked in shortly after. Cheng killed both without hesitation. This horrifying scene marks Cheng Runwu's first murder. What followed was an unstoppable descent into serial killing. Outwardly, he maintained the image of a charming, gentle architect. But inside, he was a deeply twisted and emotionless psychopath, addicted to the thrill of killing. He used somebody to target women, luring them into staged dates and then killing them. After each murder, he would delete the victim's account and take over it, even changing the profile picture to a photo from the crime scene. He would rename the account based on the sequence of his victims. The woman who died in the barrel storage tank was victim number 16. That same night, Cheng watches fireworks by the seaside. At the same time, a disheartened young woman named Nan uploads a photo of the fireworks to her somebody profile. Cheng stumbles upon her account and becomes instantly intrigued. Coincidentally, Nan also sees Cheng's profile and is equally interested. They match instantly, and Nan reaches out first. When she learns that Cheng is nearby, her curiosity spikes, and Cheng, thrilled by the new potential prey, gears up for his next move. When Cheng Runwu and Nan connect via video chat, both are shocked to realize they already know each other. This chance reconnection leads them to a beachside restaurant for a meal together. During their time there, Nan's mentor keeps calling her, but she drowns her emotions in alcohol. Cheng, puzzled by her behavior, eventually learns she is heartbroken from a recent betrayal. Drunk and vulnerable, Nan vents her frustrations, specifically how her mentor had belittled Cheng's bucket tower design, comparing it to a child's drawing. The insult cuts deeply, stoking Cheng's violent urges. He decides to exact revenge. First, he murders Nan, then uses her phone to lure her mentor to the same bucket structure under false pretenses. When the mentor arrives and finds Nan's phone but not her, Cheng suddenly attacks, brutally slamming the man's head against a rough concrete wall and dragging him violently down a flight of stairs by his feet, his savage punishment for the insult. Though a cold-blooded killer, Cheng's relationship with Qiyin, who has Asperger's syndrome, takes a complicated turn. Initially viewing her as just another victim, Cheng gradually sees a reflection of himself in her. He begins to see the potential for them to become a depraved couple, equal in their darkness. To bring out her inner sadism, Cheng provokes her with manipulation. For instance, Jinyu's decision to euthanize an injured kitten was a direct result of Cheng's verbal influence. The turning point arrives when Jinyu accidentally kills a man in an abandoned building. That moment ignites the darker part of her soul. However, fate complicates things. The friend Cheng had previously tormented, Qiyin, is actually Jinyu's closest friend. Enraged, Qiyin swears vengeance and begins her own investigation into Cheng's identity. Through a co-worker, Qiyin connects with a hacker named Zhitu. She pays him generously to track down the account that had lured her to the swimming pool. Zhitu discovers that the account frequently communicated via video chat with a young boy, but only half of the man's face was ever visible. Qiyin resolves to uncover his identity using this clue. Meanwhile, Cheng starts to notice signs that Jinyu is still suppressing her violent instincts. To force her full transformation, he destroys her longtime robotic companion. When Jinyu discovers the destroyed robot and checks the recordings, she's horrified to find footage confirming that Cheng orchestrated the deadly encounter in the abandoned building. Though her first reaction is rage, love wins out. In order to prevent herself from hurting Cheng, Jinyu packs up all the knives in her home and takes them to Qiyin's sister, the Mystic, for safekeeping. The Mystic, moved by Jinyu's struggle, writes a charm to help her resist violent urges. Simultaneously, hacker G2 gains access to the boy's account and tricks Cheng into replying. To Cheng's surprise, the response reveals it was Qiyin all along, exposing herself to bait him. Cheng is thrilled at the challenge and agrees to meet her near the snack shop the next morning. Qiyin rushes to the location, unaware that the area is scheduled for demolition. Construction workers warn her to leave, but it's too late. Cheng has already blocked all exits. As the network signal cuts out and demolition begins, Qiyin frantically searches for an escape. Her wheelchair gets stuck. Despite her best efforts, she can't dislodge it. Crawling for tools, she sees a human figure in the distance and calls out, but receives no reply. Following the shadow, she finds a wheelchair with a note that chillingly reads, "Wait here and die slowly." Devastated, Qiyin attempts to use the new wheelchair to escape, but accidentally tips it over, revealing a severed human hand beneath it. At the same time, police investigating the bucket tower find Nan's corpse and her mentor's severed ear embedded in the wall. Just then, Cheng finally appears before Qiyin. However, he doesn't attack. Instead, he silently drags the wheelchair away, leaving Qiyin in paralyzed horror. Thankfully, Jinyu and her mystic sister arrive in time to rescue her. Once safe at home, Qiyin immediately calls the police to report what happened. The hand she found belonged to the owner of the snack shop, who had become Cheng's latest victim. At the same moment, the mystic senses a disturbing presence and urgently calls her sister. Meanwhile, a man, unaware of the danger, prepares to confess his love via video call. As he begins, a razor-sharp blade slices through his eyes and nose in a sudden, merciless attack. He tries to see his attacker but is blinded by blood. Even as he collapses, he clutches the phone to gaze at his girlfriend's face on screen and whispers a final word before dying. The twist? The mysterious killer was his girlfriend, Jinyu, and the woman on the screen was not real, but an AI-generated likeness. After the kill, Jinyu calmly strips off her disguise, wraps the blade in a disposable glove, wipes off the blood, and stares blankly into the distance, finally feeling a sense of release. It all began when the mystic used a magical mirror and discovered that the man tormenting Qiyin was Jinyu's boyfriend. She confronted Jinyu, urging her to confess. But Jinyu refused and even called Cheng in front of the mystic to prove his innocence. Though Cheng's responses were flawless, the mystic remained skeptical. Without concrete evidence, she had no choice but to leave. Unbeknownst to Jinyu, the company's CEO, Li had been monitoring her private chats with Cheng. He discovered Cheng's true identity through unauthorized access to the system. To protect the company and its star developer, Li invited Cheng to the company's headquarters under the pretense of building renovations. The mystic, already suspicious, staked out the building across the street with a camera in hand. Her plan was to capture Cheng's image and send it to her sister to confirm if he was the man who hurt Qiyin. Meanwhile, inside the office, Li confronted Cheng with an ultimatum: break up with Jinyu or face criminal exposure. Cheng, unfazed, laughed coldly and approached the glass wall. He was about to strike Li with an ashtray, but paused when he saw Jinyu standing outside the building. For the sake of her reputation, he clenched his rage and stopped himself. Instead of resorting to violence, he merely gave Li a silent threat, opening his palm in warning before walking out. Outside, the mystic's sister, watching from the rooftop, saw Jinyu walking arm in arm with a man and quickly sent a photo to Qiyin. To their shock, the man wasn't Cheng Runwu. In truth, Cheng and Jinyu had anticipated the surveillance. They staged this misleading act, using one of Cheng's co-workers to deceive the mystic. Thanks to Jinyu's cover, Cheng escaped unnoticed. Just as it seemed Cheng had once again slipped away, the mystic's informant discovered his stash of burner phones and delivered them to her. These phones were undeniable proof of Cheng's crimes. The mystic and Qiyin confronted Jinyu, laying the phones in front of her, hoping she would finally accept the truth. But despite the mounting evidence, Jinyu continued defending Cheng. Heartbroken, the sisters had no choice but to walk away. Meanwhile, Cheng discovered the theft of his phones and responded with unrelenting brutality, murdering the informant, deleting the informant's account, and registering a new account labeled #17. To vent his rage, Cheng stuffed the corpse under a car and repeatedly ran it over, expressing his psychopathic frustration. With law enforcement closing in, Cheng bought a secluded home in the countryside, tailoring its design to Jinyu's taste in hopes of finally living together as a twisted couple. At the same time, Qiyin hired hacker Jidu again to acquire Jinyu and Cheng's chat logs and track Jinyu's location in real time. Authorities soon linked Cheng to the crimes and moved in to arrest him, but he was already gone. All they recovered were more anonymous phones. Meanwhile, at the company, Li was reviewing a new AI-powered face swap video tool, a feature that would soon change the Somebody app forever. Cheng, still using Somebody, matched with a new woman he'd previously met. When he doubted her identity, she initiated a video call, and the woman on screen was none other than Nan, the girl he had murdered. Terrified and confused, Cheng ran downstairs, only for another phone to ring. When he answered, it showed the face of another of his past victims. Reality and illusion blurred. In a panic, Cheng smashed the phones and tried to drive to Jinyu, but the calls wouldn't stop. Paranoid and afraid for the first time, he dumped the stolen phones in a box and called Jinyu. Jinyu already knew the truth. When Cheng confessed, she didn't judge. Instead, she soothed him, brought him into her room, and embraced him silently. But once Cheng left, Jinyu made her choice. She carefully compiled a list of all his somebody account usernames and called Qiyin. After hanging up, Qiyin alerted the police and began tracking Jinyu's location. But Jinyu, always a step ahead, intentionally switched taxis at a gas station to confuse her trackers, leaving her purse in the first car to create a false trail. Meanwhile, Cheng waited in anticipation for Jinyu at their new home. Unbeknownst to him, she had already infiltrated the house in disguise. Using an AI-generated version of herself, she video-called him to create a perfect alibi. Just as Cheng poured his heart out to the virtual Jinyu, the real Jinyu killed him. Despite her deep love, Jinyu realized that Cheng's madness had gone beyond redemption. His actions had crossed a moral boundary even she could no longer overlook. In the end, she chose justice over devotion and ended his life with her own hands. Sometime later, the mystic sensed the final shift and rode her scooter to retrieve Jinyu. Back at the office, a taxi driver returned Jinyu's planted purse. Qiyin, seeing Jinyu alive and seemingly unharmed, had no choice but to let things go. Jinyu, now emotionally transformed, quietly joined her co-workers playing a video game. To everyone's surprise, including herself, she easily beat the game on her first try. In many ways, Cheng had been the final boss of her own life's journey. She had conquered him, and through the pain, emerged reborn. Jinyu's journey through darkness, love, manipulation, and murder had reshaped her. The suffering she endured, the decisions she made, and the duality she lived with became a part of her. From this point on, she walked forward, armed with her past, eyes on the future, and a commitment to justice born from pain.